So, sorry that last video ended abruptly. But just note here at the last point, after I receive your email, I will award you 10 points. So again, here's the overview. You get 20 points automatically for your draft video. You get 20 points automatically for your draft paper. Of course, I do reserve the right if you put up a video that obviously you didn't put any thought into it, or a draft that you didn't put any thought into it, then you will not earn those points. Or possibly half of them. But that will be in extreme cases. And also your final video and paper worth up to 200 points, and then you get automatically 10 points for voting. Now, I do want you to pay attention to the fact that I have attached also rubrics here, so you can see how I'm going to be breaking down your grade. How well did you follow the assignment? You can earn up to 30 points. What is the quality of your mise en scène? You can earn up to 30 points. Your editing, cinematography, and sound, again, up to 30 points. And then use of time, 10 points. You add these all up together, it comes up to 100 points possible. So do, as you're working on the assignment, pay attention here and be thinking, have I fulfilled the assignment? Did I put obvious thought into lighting, decor, and costume choices? And do those choices enhance the narrative? That's important. Does the video and audio exhibit good editing? Were wise choices made on cinematography? And then finally, the video meets time requirements, uses all time to the best possible effect, not a wasted second. I also have a rubric for the writing assignment, and you'll see here that, again, it's weird because this one goes from F to A, and this one goes from A to F. But this is the criteria that I always use when evaluating written work by a student. So all material for the assignment is present. You can earn between 20 and 16 points if you're in the A to B range. I do often use this thesis part. You're not going to have a thesis for this assignment, so don't worry about that. Just ignore this section. So, so are the thesis and individual claims fully supported with summary, paraphrase, and multiple quotes supporting evidence in every paragraph? For this category, that means that you're going to be actually pointing to things within your video. Like, I chose to use a pink shirt because I wanted to make sure that everyone knew within Western culture that this particular character is meant to be feminine, because pink we typically associate with femininity. Purple with being regal, things like that. Or, you specifically point to, I chose to use only a backlight because I wanted to see an outline of my character, as opposed to, seeing every detail of my character because I wanted to create a sense of mystery. And so, this particular point, the analysis, presents a precise, informed, satisfying, critical investigation of the significance or importance of the topic. That's where you're going to be saying, again, your supporting evidence is, I use pink, and then your analysis is, because pink shows femininity. So to make sure that every time you point to something that you chose to do within your video, or that you're thinking about doing, that you explain why it's significant, why you think it'll be helpful. Also, make sure that your ideas are well organized. Obviously, your individual paragraphs will not be building towards your strongest point, but do make sure that you're thinking about, like, how does this paragraph work? Am I explaining everything I need to explain? The language needs to be appropriate to the audience and evidence a college-level vocabulary. Do make sure that you refer to the terminology from our textbook, and also that you use appropriate language that that shows that you are a college student addressing a professor. Also, author shows stylistic finesse. The title and opening concluding paragraphs are engaging. The transitions are artful. The phrasing tight, fresh, and highly specific. The sentence structure is varied. The tone enhances the purposes of the paper. I'm going to be primarily concerned with this portion, of course, right? And also your title, the title of your project. It should be something that's catchy. And then here we have the technical parts. Have you done careful proofreading? Are there little to no typos in your paper? Of course, everyone has a few typos in their paper, but is there not a pattern that I can discern that you obviously were just doing some sloppy work. Be careful, pay attention to the details. And if, of course, you do any external research, you should have a works cited page and a parenthetical citation. Not just for your summaries, paraphrases, or quotations, but for whatever song you choose to use as your audio, or any sound effects that you choose to use within your video that you didn't actually create yourself. You do not need to create a citation for the video itself. You are going to be the author of it. That is just fine. Okay? So there we go. Now I'm going to, if you have any questions about the assignment, again, post them to the forum. If you have a question, I can guarantee somebody else in the class has a question too. Now I'm just going to start talking in a second here about how Chapter 11 can help us to fulfill this assignment now that you have thoroughly gotten an overview of what the assignment will be. Okay, so as you know, we have been over the course of this semester not just talking about digital storytelling, but talking about transmedia storytelling and reading about it. We've read several chapters on exactly what is digital storytelling, how to do digital storytelling well, how digital storytelling is integrated into transmedia storytelling. All the information that you need, we have covered this semester. And also, what I think is interesting here, because even though we've primarily been watching the web series, if you come down to the information about the Guild, you can see all of the different sites that they are leveraging in order, and also print resources and physical resources that they are leveraging in order to tell their story. And also they have an official fan podcast, and also they make live appearances. So these are all options. We've been talking about this, you've been thinking about it, you've been experiencing it. These are all options of ways that you can approach your transmedia assignment. Also for this week, I've assigned Chapter 11 to you, and Chapter 11 is guidelines for creating a new project. And this chapter I think is really quite good. It talks about what you actually have to do in pre-production, and this is going to be a challenge for you all because we're not meeting together physically, and so you might feel a little isolated, you might feel a little overwhelmed, and this chapter is meant to help you start thinking about the process. Additionally, you'll see that on our website, on our Moodle site, I have reposted the storyboard template. So you should download that and use it to start helping you to start sketching out some ideas. And don't be frustrated if at first you come up with ideas that you don't like. That's what storyboarding is for. It's like brainstorming visually. And so if you come up with ideas that you don't like, just download another page and start working on that. Use sketches, put in pictures, write some dialogue, do what you need to do in order for you to feel confident that you know what your plan is before you actually start filming. Now, you'll see here in Chapter 11, Miller talks about the pre-production period. And pre-production period, basically what that means, as she explains, is that this is the effort that you put into creating a project before you actually dive into creating the products that will go along with your project. Because it's so important that you actually have a clear plan so that you don't waste your time, and also so that you don't create something that won't attract any viewers. So she does talk about the different tasks that are involved in putting together a project in the pre-production period. And you're not going to be doing a lot of these. You're basically going to be fleshing out an idea that centers around your rabbit hole, which will be your video, and then thinking about how the larger project could be created outside of that. But you're not going to be worrying too much about, how you would actually create artwork or how you would actually do this or that. But you do need to be thinking about like how you would actually, market something. You don't need to find actual, physical companies that can help you. But you would need to say, I'm going to need to find a company that would help me. I think that if I created t-shirts, that they would cost about $12 a piece. So, I would have to come up with a Kickstarter because I don't have a producer. So be thinking about all the way that those come together. Also, helpfully, she has the 5 most all too common errors that production people fall into when they're in production, which is, number 1, throwing too much into the project. You have to think reasonably about what you can achieve, but don't set the bar too low. This is sort of, you're going to want to think about what you could do reasonably, but on a large scale. Don't, kind of create a lemonade stand sort of project. Think about something what you could do in order to make a successful project, something like the Guild, where people can actually have living salaries off of them. Also, number 2, not considering your audience. And you need to be really specific about your audience, who it is that you're targeting. Because a lot of times the mistake that students make with this project is that they say, I'm targeting people like me. Okay, well, who are people like you? Be specific about that. You know that you have certain people that you're friends with and certain people that you're not friends with. And so who are people like you like? Not everyone in your age range is exactly like yourself. You don't want to make number 3, you don't want to make the product too hard or too complicated. So you're going to want to come up with ideas that people can go along with that they found entertaining. And then number 4, don't make it too simple. So you have to make it not too hard, not too simple. So don't dumb it down. Don't make something where you have to have already a degree in a specific field in order to understand it. And then number 5, not making the product truly interactive. People these days really like to be able to interact with their media, and so you need to come up with ways that will keep people interested and also keep them coming back for more. So one important thing to do, and I think that this is really significant, is she talks about log lines and how to come up with log lines. She gives 2 good examples. And it is really important to have a clear and vivid premise, which is usually just 1 sentence long and describes your concept in a way that indicates where its energy will come from, what the challenges might be, and what will hook the users. Now, that she gives 2 examples, and I really like them because their examples name the product, addresses the audience, addresses what the audience will be doing, and also explains the narrative in 1 concise sentence. This is called an elevator pitch, basically something that you can say to somebody in an elevator and they can get excited about your project. And it's such an important thing to do. So her examples are, in Runway, you are thrust in the glamorous but cutthroat world of the fashion industry, where you play the head of a small fashion house competing against powerful rivals and try to come up with a winning line for the new season. See, that's enticing, and you know exactly what you're going to be asked to do as a participant in this game. So what I want you guys to do, and you can read about this more on pages 186 and 187. But what I want you guys to do is to come up with your log lines and post them to the forum. And then when you post them to the forum, not only myself, but your classmates can look at those ideas, come up with ideas themselves, or give you feedback on your ideas. Like, this is confusing, or I would want to play this, or could you add, blah, blah, blah. And I think that'll be really helpful for all of us as we move forward. Okay, last couple seconds in this video, and I'm going to finish talking about Chapter 11 and the final video for this week.